What's up? This is Trem, and this is going to be a video on Raid Shadow Legends, specifically on how to advance quickly as a free-to-play player, and how you can get a 6-star champion in your first week. If you look at my account here, this is a pretty new account. I'm only on day 6, and just this morning, I was able to rank up my KL to reach 6 stars. I haven't leveled him all the way to 60 yet, but he is 6 stars now. So, I should say up front that the approach I'm going to be talking about here is not for everyone. If you're a gamer who enjoys the challenge of seeing how quickly you can advance, this will be the video for you, but the process is pretty intense. And so if you're looking for a more casual gaming experience, probably you don't want to be looking at what's here. There's all sorts of other free-to-play guides out there. There's some great videos from folks like Hell Hades, Bionic, Ash, Chosen, VNNCC3. And they really cover the fundamentals of free-to-play. I'll be talking about some of those, but I'm also really going to be going into depth as far as how you can optimize your progress forward. Now, if you've played the game for a while or watched other guide videos, you know that your very top priority early in the game is getting a 6-star champion. You want to level a champion who can farm experience for your food units, and so that then you can raise everyone else up that much more quickly. Get them 6 stars, you want to be able to get to 12-3 Brutal and farm there, because that's going to give you the most amount of XP and silver for the energy that you spend. Now, for most people, getting a 6-star champion takes somewhere around a month, and that's because there's a lot going on in a game, and so it's hard to really focus. People split their attention between champions. They end up spending a lot of energy on dungeons, which is really not a good use early on because you end up replacing the gear pretty quickly. And so this video is going to show you how you can really focus and get that 6-star champion as quickly as possible. Now, the key principle here is energy management. How you use your energy makes all the difference as far as how quickly you can progress. So one of the key priorities around that is going to be accomplishing multiple things at the same time. There's a lot going on in the game. You have your missions, you have your challenges, you have your daily, weekly, and monthly quests, you have the campaign, as well as leveling your champions. If you can be simultaneously working on multiple things at the same time, that is going to end up saving you a lot of energy, which means that much more progress you'll be able to make. So just for example, under the challenges in the artifact section, a lot of these challenges here require you to win a certain type of gear from a certain stage of the campaign. If you just take your main campaign team and run that same stage as many times as needed to get that gear, it may cost a lot of energy for you to actually complete that challenge. But if at that same time you're doing other things, first making sure you've gotten 3 stars on that stage, and then farming experience for your food that you need to be leveling up, while you're completing that challenge, that means you're going to be getting a whole lot more out of the process than you would otherwise. Another principle is making sure that your energy is always filling up. That if you hit max energy, you're not going to be recharging. And so that 20 energy you'd be getting every hour otherwise, you're not going to have it for some amount of time. So ideally, when you're starting a game, you actually want to run through all the energy you have at the beginning in your first day. That's pretty intense. That's probably going to require maybe 5+ hours of gameplay to be able to get through all that and burn down the energy so you can start recharging it. But if you think about it, if you take an extra day, 20 of energy per hour for a full day, that's 480 lost energy that you would otherwise have had at the start of the game. And so if you want to be moving as quickly as possible, you really want to get through that initial energy, and so you can start charging pretty quickly. Similarly, at the end of the day, when you're going to bed, make sure you run down your energy to the bottom because it's going to fill up overnight, and the longer it sits full, the more recharge time you have wasted there. Another really important thing that I haven't heard discussed much is making sure that you get the most out of your energy refills. So you may think when you get an energy refill, great, energy, I'll use it and keep going, but the value of an energy refill changes a lot depending on when you use it, because it is going to give you as much energy as you have. And so early on in the game, say in your first day you have 50 energy, the next day you may have 100 energy. And so if you can save an energy refill that extra day, that means you're getting basically 50 free energy. So what I would recommend is that when you get an energy refill, you should wait as long as possible to use it, because it's going to become that much more valuable over time. Now, obviously, make sure that if it is for something like a daily quest, that you do use it before the reset. But sometimes if you can wait overnight, if you can wait that extra few hours, you get an extra level, that's going to be a couple more free energy, and that's really going to add up and make a difference. Finally, I would say with all of this, yes, you want to be managing energy well and getting as much as possible, but at the same time, you don't want to be compromising your long-term progress. And so an easy way to make progress very quickly early on would be just to spend your gems on energy, but that's really not the best investment in the long term. And so as many other free-to-play guides will tell you, I would really recommend putting your gems into your mine. I've leveled up my mine 2 levels. I almost have enough now for level 3. That's costing gems right now, and so that does mean I've lost a bit of progress from that. But in the long term, the mine ends up paying back way more than you put into it if you keep playing the game. And so that's still the best usage for the gems. Similarly, as you are finding rare champions from your summons, I would recommend keeping at least 1 copy of all those champions, because they could be important for a fusion event in the future. If you get duplicates and you don't think you're going to use it, go ahead and use it as food, but make sure you're keeping at least 1 copy so that you are set up for being able to make progress later on as well. So just to go through my approach in a bit more depth, as you saw, I chose Kale as a starter champion. Any of the starter champions can work great as a farmer. Kale is, I would say by most folks I've heard, he's recommended, just because not only is he as good early on, he has a lot more viability in the end game, specifically because of his poison, so he can be great on clan boss up until really late in the game. And so when you're thinking about who's going to be most valuable in the long term as 6-star, he is probably the most so out of those starter champions. So I picked Kale. I immediately boosted him up as I started playing. And then I picked up my War Priest at the end of Chapter 1 and leveled her up a little bit as well. And I really focused on those 2 champions for most of the initial few days, particularly leveling up Kale because he was able to really carry the team through most of the fights I was doing. And so with those units, I was able to work up to stage 9-3. And then I started farming there. And the reason for that is Chapter 9 is where you can get a War Maiden drop. And so I really wanted to get a War Maiden because just with War Maiden and Kale, I already could have a pretty decent arena team with War Maiden doing her Crumbling Blast to drop the enemy defense, and then Kale nuking with his Acid Rain. Those 2 units on their own were actually enough to be able to keep me not getting too far ahead, but viable in the arena. I didn't really focus on the arena beyond that. I just stuck in 2 other random champions to fill out my team because my focus really was on getting a 6-star champion. So for Kale, nothing special in the gear early on. You should just use the lifesteal gear that you get from the new player rewards. So you can see I have that on here, the gloves, the chest, the feet, the helm, and then I decided to stick on a Divine Offense set for the weapon and the shield. So really nothing too crazy about the gear. It's what they give you. You do want to make sure you're leveling up your artifacts, initially to 12, and then as you get a bit farther and can afford it, to 16, really focusing on this middle row, because the bonus you get from speed, from attack, from crit rate, really do make a big difference as far as making sure that your farming champion can go quickly, can make sure he never dies in dealing with the stage that you're on. So the other thing I would say is to keep focused on your farming champion. You can see I have Kale at 6 stars. No one else is 5 stars. First I got Kale to 5 stars, then I got a couple more to 4 stars, but then I just went back to him. I focused getting him to 6 stars. That was the priority. I wanted that 6-star champion because that's what's going to allow me now to get to 12-3 Brutal, and then that means that everyone else will be able to level up that more quickly. So one other really important thing that I want to point out, and some of you may be wondering, how do I have the raid card, which is a paid feature. But Rate Card comes with a 1-week free trial. And so, and I should give a shout out to VNNCC3 for this. It was in his video I first learned about this. You can sign up for this. You can get it a week for free. You can cancel. You don't have to pay a dime. And it means that you're getting 20% extra XP, 20% extra silver from all the campaign farming you're doing, which is a lot. I mean, this has made a huge difference early on. And so you can see I actually have another 2 days here, so hopefully I'll be able to take advantage of this for brutal farming as well. But this has definitely made a big difference in speed. I should note, if you are a PC player, you may be wondering what I'm talking about because you haven't seen that option. Rate Card only shows up for mobile users. So if you're playing on a PC and you want to take advantage of this, you're going to need to load your game on a smartphone, open it there, and sign up for this. That is unfortunately the only way you can get access to that feature. Some other smaller tips. I've done a fair amount of challenges, particularly focusing on the ones that had energy rewards, because that energy then allowed me to progress that much farther. I have also tried to move ahead on missions. I made it through the first set. I'm now to the second, only a few away from the dreaded Silver 1 in Classic Arena, which is probably going to take quite a while. There weren't any amazing rewards for leveling in these first few missions, so I haven't really focused on these. But I knock out that first set just because there's some energy rewards or some other decent items that can help you progress. And then another one that I think a lot of people don't pay so much attention to early on is faction wars. You're not going to be able to do too much here early on just because it's hard to get ahead. But they do give you access to the crypt for your starter champion, and you should be able to get through at least the first few levels there. And in particular, all you have to do is get 5 stars, and you will be able to get an energy reward. If you get to 20, you get a 3-star chicken. Those help you advance faster as well. So I would recommend spending some time on that early, but know that you're not going to be able to get super, super far. And then I should also note, one of the bonuses of moving quickly is any events that are happening here, you can generally make a decent amount of progress for a free-to-play account. Most of the time, if you're not paying, you're going to get limited in some of those early stages of the events just because they are geared towards someone who's investing significant resources, and resources generally means paying money. But if you look at this Dungeon Divers event that's been going on since I started playing, I'm actually most of the way through the second bar already, and there's still another day and a half left. So I'm almost certainly going to get this Sacred Shard, maybe even these gems. So that's progress that if I was playing at a more casual rate, I would not have been able to get those resources. So that really is a bonus from adopting this somewhat more intense style of play. So this is where my account is at now. Next up, I'm going to be working to leveling up to Brutal 12-3, which hopefully shouldn't be too hard now that I have my 6-star Kale. As I said, 2 more days on a raid pass. Hopefully I can take advantage of that for some farming there and make some decent progress on my next 6-star champion. Still not sure who that's going to be. I haven't pulled anyone too great. If I don't get anyone better, maybe War Maiden, but I'll have to see. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I am planning to continue to post more videos on my progress and any other tricks or things that I learn along the way. So if you're interested in learning more, please do subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.